So the big draw here is farm fresh, and that's also the big draw for folks we found visiting a diner in Vermont.
At first glance, it looks like any other diner, a long formica counter and loaded plates of meat and potatoes. But this restaurant serves up a bit more than your traditional backroads greasy spoon. And their motto says it all.
We're spending 75 cents of every dollar that we spend on food and beverage within 70 miles of the restaurant, so within this watershed, within the Vermont community. It's really from the farm to us.
Todd Murphy started the Farmer's Diner in Quechee Gorge, Vermont. Murphy, himself a farmer, had two goals in mind: support local growers and bring fresh to a classic American restaurant tradition. Why a diner instead of some other type of restaurant?
Well, Chez Panisse out in San Francisco and a lot of those really high-end restaurants have been buying local for 2, almost 3 decades now and really set the bar. But the farmers that supply those restaurants can't afford to be regular customers.
Todd is trying to help local farmers make a living while selling food at a price that people can afford. No high-end items on the menu here, just classic American blue plate cooking.
From the farmer's perspective, you know, we use a lot of sausage and hamburger, which when you're farming in Vermont and you're trying to sell a lot of your stuff directly, hamburger is always the hardest thing to sell. Everybody loves to eat steak, and there's not a lot of steaks in every cow, and so you're left with what do I do with roasts and with other end cuts, and so we use the hamburger.
Sandwiches are a specialty.
This is the best burger I've ever had.
But unlike most diners, those sandwiches share the plate with plenty of seasonal greens. Todd works with some 40 different agricultural suppliers, like potato farmer Bob Chappelle.
My wife and I grow 50 acres of potatoes, and it's basically a mom and pop operation. We have one full-time employee and several part-time employees, and 50 acres gets sold through the course of the winter to a local chain store, and then like the Farmer's Diner, some local co-ops, and a local wholesaler. We have probably this year maybe 10 varieties, but they're basically round white potatoes, which is the popular variety in the Northeast, and red potatoes, Yukon Gold, which is a yellow flesh, and russets.
They've grown their business over 20 years. They're what I consider like a 1950s farm. They're small-scale commercial. They have their own packing facility.
Todd not only acquires farmhouse favorites from local growers, he also seeks out the best in regional meats for those meat and potato items on the menu. And then there's the diner's signature Smokehouse Club sandwich. Why signature?
Because of the smokehouse component, the ham, bacon, and turkey.
With that, Todd went to work.
You need to have a big mouth and a hearty appetite.
And that hearty appetite for down-home fare is what keeps the customers coming back.
I had the corned beef hash and eggs, and it was great. Some of the best corned beef hash I've ever had.
While the food wins high praise, so do the surroundings. First, this is the real deal, an authentic 1940s Worcester Streamline diner. There are only 6 of them left in the country. It adds to the farmhouse feel.
Oh yeah, you know, it's it's fun to actually have real farm things going on instead of those antiques that were made in China last year.
As for the diner's future, Denise Yandow says there's a balance that must be struck to stay true to the original vision.
I would like to see more people eating area food, local food, because of all the different impacts that it has. It's going to be a struggle, I think, to try to figure out how big Todd would like this place to be. We certainly don't want to lose the intimacy of what it's like now.
But it's one delicious dilemma that the folks at Farmer's Diner are hoping to resolve, as Todd's idea of putting local farmers on the menu grows in popularity.
We get a lot of feedback from people from away who come up from Boston and New York who just love it, want us to come down to, you know, you got to come down to Boston, you got to come down, there's a great place in New York that's for sale, you know, and we would like to do that.
Todd says one way he could open new restaurants and still stay connected to a community is to have them locally owned. He says that's just good business for those on both sides of the counter.
So whether a diner in Vermont or this farmer's market here in Kansas City, Missouri, local and farm fresh is definitely a growing trend. And by the way, the city market here has a website that can help you identify the freshest produce in the region. Just one more way that local farmers who grow the food are connecting with those of us who eat it. And that's our show for today. We thank you for watching. I'm Paul Ryan, and we want to see you next time right here in America's Heartland.